ability to make pockets is inexpensive. I can use pretty much any fabric that isn't stretchy, that I can put anywhere in my clothes. Is just amazing, so I am so glad that you are interested. I'm just gonna show you some different options you can do when you make your pockets. For example, I have a pocket right here. Where's my phone? This fabric does not match because I could not find green fabric. But the great thing about it is that if you like to wear long shirts, you can wear it like this and it's covered, so it's really nice. Also, if you don't like lifting your shirt all the time because that's kind of inconvenient, you can sew the pocket lower or wherever you want. You can even put it on shirts, although I do find it easier on pants. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you are sewing on leggings especially, make sure that it isn't too stretchy and that it is a good quality fabric of legging. Here's an example of a pocket sewn on the classic legging. That's good quality. Because if it isn't, it'll be really hard to sew it. The stitches will kind of be loose, and when you're trying to pin the fabric together, it won't really hold very well. And also, you do not want your leggings to sag down, or else you will have to keep pulling up your leggings all the time, which is very inconvenient. So make sure you have like a good, like tight, thick kind of legging. It doesn't have to be like winter, just like good quality, not like the really cheap stuff. But you can use t-shirt fabric, I suppose, but the tighter weave type of fabric, or like just the less stretchier the fabric is, the better it is. It's also great to find a matching color, but if you can't, you can always sew it higher. I also suggest sewing on pajama pants or clothes that you're not real into, or you don't like care about that much when you first make this, just because even though it is easy, it's still sewing onto clothing, and you just want to make sure that you're happy with how the pocket comes out and that you know how to do it before you attack your leggings. So I hope you enjoy this video. Cut a piece of fabric that you feel would just match your pajama pants best, or your leggings. This is like more of a blue and my pajama pants are more turquoise, but it's fine because it's just pajamas and I don't really mind that much. And just make it much bigger than whatever you are using to measure. So I'm using my phone because I need space to sew around it. And always remember that if it's too big, you can always easily cut it back under the machine. So it's better to make it bigger than smaller. And so now that you did that, you're just gonna see that it's a pocket, and you're just gonna cut this in half. Just make sure to align it. So now you want to put your pajamas on, or your leggings, or your pants, and take one of your pieces that you cut. So since you cut it in half, you have two pieces, and put it where you want it. So let's see, I want it kind of on the side of my hip, like right there. And I always move it like maybe a 1/4 inch higher, because especially if you have your phone, because that's basically what I make these for, is my phone. And you have to think that your phone will probably weigh it down, because my phone, at least mine, is like really heavy. So in the past I've noticed that it's really like sagged it down, especially if you have pants that have like a drawstring or elastic that is a little bit weaker. You just need to have that in mind. So just always put it like a 1/4 inch higher, just to make sure that it doesn't like sag down. And then you're gonna take a piece of chalk. So now you take it where you want it. And I'm not gonna draw it right now because I have to put the camera down to readjust this, but you're just gonna draw it exactly where you want it and make it vivid so you can really see that line where you drew it. So now you can see that line that I drew. It is very faint, I admit. I did not have the best chalk for this, but it's right there. So I can see it well enough, especially if I align this, because you can see where the chalk kind of rubbed off. You can see this is where, and just get a visual of what's going to happen. You can see where the other pocket would come in, like that. They would meet up at this line. So we don't need those right now. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut along this line, and make sure that when you cut that you hold it here, because it is very easy to cut on the other side of your pants and nobody wants that. After you've cut out the little line, then you're going to just pin these on the opposite ends. So you can see here, that's where I cut it. Take your pins and just pin them along here, pin this one on this side, and then pin this one on this side. Make sure you have the right thread for the type of pants you are doing. I'm doing pajamas, so white and black, it doesn't matter. But if you are doing leggings, it is probably best to do black or the color that matches your leggings or whatever day clothes you are using. You're going to take your pants and you're going to sew along this line here, so this entire length that would look like this. So you can see, make sure not to get your other side, your other pocket or other pajama side under this, or you're gonna just sew this thing closed, which you don't want. You just want to sew this thing together. So make sure that when you are sewing, you are always feeling under here to make sure that you're just sewing, sewing this side here. So remember that when you sew, you always back tack, especially if you want to put this in the wash, you want it to be as secure as possible. And do the exact same thing to this side. Once you do that, you might notice a few errors that look like some. This won't matter because we are flipping this inside out through the hole, so this extra space doesn't matter. Of course, try to keep it, you know, to a minimum, because it does, if you do it a lot, then it will be, the pockets will not fit exactly, so try to, but it's not a big deal if you have like some of this sticking out here. And also you might notice or be worried about this extra unsewed fabric here. You can see how it ends here and there's still a lot of extra fabric here. And that's a really easy fix. I do this all the time because this pocket, it's kind of hard to make it exactly touch, you know, the circle here, and you can't really make it touch. So it's easier to fix that up right at the end, and I always do that, so don't worry about it. Flip this inside out, so you're gonna put it into the hole. I'm gonna do that to the other side, and then you're gonna make your pants inside out. Well, not all the way, but you can see it's kind of inside out there. And now you can see your pockets coming out on the inside. Sorry, this is very hard to do when I'm holding a camera, but you can see that it's kind of, this is like the inside out of the pajama, and that's what it looks like. Now that you've gotten through the hardest part, which is sewing this to the top, this is actually mostly aligned for you right now, so you just kind of just fix it up a little bit on the edges, and then you will pin this together so it's a pocket. So you will pin all around the edges. Here's an example of when you finished it. Forgive the mess on this. I have a very, very old machine and it's not the best quality, so it was kind of skipping stitches and I kind of had to go over it again, but that's just the machine. That if you have a good machine, it wouldn't do that to you. If you have a few holes, so right here, see where this pin is? There's a hole right there. I'll pull the pin out. You can tell there's like a little hole right there, and then a more obvious hole is right here. You can definitely tell, and you can just see that that's a great big hole. So you're just gonna put that under your machine and line it up, and then you will sew all the way here and sew onto this to sew this gap here, to sew this fuzzy gap closed. And that was the part that I was showing you earlier, that even if this blue strip doesn't align perfectly with this, you can just sew this closed by just keep going here. It's time to flip it out. So just basically just push it back in like you would any pocket in your clothing, like that. So there is your pocket, and you will probably notice that technically if you you will still notice that your legs will touch this, and I guess you can, if you want, you can do it the proper way and fold this in and sew it more neatly, but that will, on leggings especially, or tight pants, it will show as like a weird border. So I just leave this exposed because the threads don't really you can't really see it in the wash because the threads are just inside these pants. And so it's just fine that way because nobody can see inside your pants. It's just a pocket here. And the most people can see is this pocket right here. That's all there is to it. Here's the pocket right here, and you take your phone or whatever you're putting in it and you just slip it down just like that. And if you feel like this is a little too deep, you can always make this inside out again, take out your pocket, and you can just sew up the bottom and just make it a little higher so your phone sticks out like this if you want it to be like that. And the cool thing is you can't really see it. You just kind of see a crease there, especially if I'm far away. Although I do warn that you can see this fabric a lot more in stretchier fabric. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. So I hope you enjoy it.